good. It's on.
Okay. I'm turning.
Can everyone hear me? We feel like there's going to be a lot of people, so please move down inside the rows. Hopefully everyone here hasn't showered recently. Please move down and sit next to each other. That'd be really helpful for us.
Sorry.
I was just saying, is mine on? Oh, I have it off. That's my fault.
You just put these. It's better instead of.
I do.
So since the Google form it says but what you want to do is just say
Yeah, we had to change our name.
Alright, so find your seat.
Thank you. So don't say anything. She's like, so
good call.
I was just like,
It's a little hard to like
Let us know if you guys need anything.
okay.
Waters are for you. Oh yeah. It's a weird.
So just that big.
Christina, can you shift over
This way?
to the right?
To the right? Right? Because you can't squeeze into that. Who's going to be the Simon Cowell? The mean one. I'm going to be nice. The mics are hot. Just a heads up. Okay.
Let's do a selfie.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. So first place 5,000,
Yes,
second place 3,000. So the 100K is the 100K.
It's in a couple of rounds, apparently.
Got it.
And apparently these mics are hot.
We don't need that road.
Oh,
We don't need that road.
so
Might have to lean into
Executive decisions have to
what would you advise your entrepreneurs? Don't run out of money.
Don't run out.
Don't run out.
Number one job, don't run out of money.
I think that's a fair number one. Don't run out of money. If nothing. Oh yeah, so I'm a new partner at X. Prior, founded 2 companies out of. Actually, X Fund invested in my first company. Fiverr. We were actually, well, so Patrick was my first investor, and then Philo was X Fund's investment when you founded the fund? It all comes full circle. Oh wait. Cheers.
Oh my gosh.
No, many of things like that.
And you're in, and also,
I am the, yep, I run Engine Ventures.
Well, let's take a look.
ready to.
So you're CEO of. Oh, so you're operator. Okay.
I'm an operator.
Okay.
Big time.
Oh, so not everybody here is a venture. Well,
Yeah,
Katie's
Yeah,
venture.
Katie's venture, Giuseppe's venture, VC, Layla and I are operators.
Tell me about Oculogica. Oculogica.
So we have an eye tracking based platform, and we do
try to squeeze them in.
brain-related function. We have a product out in the market for concussion, to test for concussion.
Okay.
And then we've got one in the pilot that we're launching next year for cannabis.
I can see that.
Being needed.
The first and last time I had a concussion was on a snowboarding trip.
Yeah.
But the helmet was cracked.
Oh, yeah. It's a bad habit.
And then, yeah, so it's funny because it was, I'd been snowboarding all day.
All right.
This is in Utah, and then they had night skiing.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, there is, it's at the end of the day when you
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the MIT's 100K pitch event for 2024. I'm Sam, and I'm one of the managing directors of the MIT 100K, alongside Jana and Brittany, who will be joining us later. We're incredibly excited to have you join us both here in person and on the live stream on YouTube. The MIT 100K competition started 30 years ago when a group of students approached Ed Roberts, founder of the Martin Trust Center. They said, the MIT motto is mens in manus, let's make it happen. And Ed thought this idea was brilliant. Ed approached a bunch of alumni about funding it, and the MIT 10K was born. That was enough to spur an explosion of student interest and engagement that continues today. The MIT 10K grew to be the MIT 50K, and now the MIT 100K, which over the course of this year will distribute over $300,000 in non-dilutive funding to startups here at MIT. The MIT 100K is now not just one event, but a year-long journey that begins with today's pitch competition, followed by Accelerate in March and Launch in May, where finalists vie for the Robert P. Goldberg Grand Prize of $100,000. We are so fortunate to be part of the vibrant ecosystem of entrepreneurship here at MIT. For those considering applying in the next rounds, remember each round is independent, so you can still apply for Accelerate and Launch.
Okay. And fun fact is I actually met someone here tonight whose, I think, dad competed in the 10K years ago. Isn't that crazy? So in November, we had almost 100 teams apply to the competition. And the contestants you'll see today are the top 16 that our judges, our preliminary judges, vetted. And this group of judges that we use to vet this initial round of competitors, they're ranging in backgrounds from entrepreneurs to VCs and to scientists as well. So the grand prize for tonight is $5,000. Second place prize is $3,000, and then as you can see, third place $2,000, Audience Choice Award $1,000. And before we jump into our event, we wanted to thank our sponsors. We have 3 awesome sponsors, and when I emphasize how awesome they are, they're the reason why we can host this event. And one of them, Akamai, who I think Eric is here tonight from Akamai. One of their, I think, chief architects came to join us as well. Akamai actually competed in 1998 and is one of our greatest success stories. If you haven't seen their giant building in Cambridge, you should start looking up and you'll see it. And then also Noble Dow was a new sponsor this year. They are a family out of Hong Kong who invests in the technology space and is very into supporting entrepreneurship, especially in the early stages. And then also we wanted to thank Morgan Thaler for their unwavering support, and especially in honor of the late David Morgan Thaler, an MIT alum and tireless champion of the MIT entrepreneurial ecosystem. They not only sustained their commitment to us, but they've also this year increased it significantly, which we deeply appreciate and allows us to continue to do big events like this. So the funding from all of our sponsors, like I said, is why we're here. And if everyone can just give them a big round of applause, we really appreciate that.
But just a second before I talk about our judges, we have people standing at the back, so if you have an empty seat next to you and you're in the middle section, please move in towards each other so people can find seats to sit down. There's empty seats and people standing, so we just want to bring people together. I want to say thank you to our preliminary judges who volunteered their time to give us our 16 finalists today to provide crucial feedback and bring those finalists to this point. Now I want to introduce you to the 5 judges we have this evening. First up, we have Layla Shakely. Layla is a co-founder of Y Systems, where she and her co-founders have raised $72 million to build a delivery automation platform for the last mile. Y System optimizes last mile routing for some of the world's leading courier and distribution organizations through AI-driven technology. Layla's career began at NASA's Lunar Science Institute, where she contributed to robotics design. An MIT School of Architecture and Planning alum, Layla's career began designing incremental housing for cost-conflict communities with UN Habitat. Layla has gained global recognition for her insights on navigating the world as a Muslim woman in STEM, with features in CNN Tech, Forbes, and Fast Company. Beyond her company, she has built a digital community of 240,000 followers across social media, where she shares her journey and learnings. She is also an Iraqi American, a Muslim, and a mother of 3. Give it up for Layla, please. We are also joined tonight by Dr. Razina Samadani, who brings 27 years of experience in the medical device companies, including 7 years with McKinsey & Company as a leader in their healthcare practice. She is the CEO of Oculogica, her 4th startup, where she has raised over $15 million, navigated FDA pathways for breakthrough diagnostics, secured $2.5 million in federal funding, built key partnerships, and anchored multiple patents. Her startup received the 2018 Angel Capital Association's Louis Villebois Award for Innovation Startups, and Dr. Samadani has been honored with the 2019 Nimble Health Vanguard Award and recognized as one of the Fast Company's most creative people in business. An MIT alum with a BS and MS in mechanical engineering and a PhD in biomedical engineering from Northwestern, she has also mentored and judged entrepreneurs for Stanford's StartX and MIT's 100K competition. Please give it up for Razina. Next, we have Giuseppe Stuto. Giuseppe is the co-founder and managing partner of 186 Ventures, a Boston, New York City-based seed-stage venture capital firm. Prior to transitioning to venture capital, he was a former founder and operator with both large-scale consumer technology and a deep tech experience. Before 186 Ventures, Giuseppe was a founder and CEO at FAM. FAM built one of the largest group video communities ever by scaling to more than 7 million users within a year. It was later acquired by DraftKings, where it subsequently served in product and strategy roles leading up to their IPO. After Giuseppe joined as one of 186 Ventures' early investments in the neural interface space, Python Technology as COO to help build their product, engineering, and machine learning and ops teams. Today, he focuses his investing efforts across a wide range of industries, preferring the non-obvious, unsexy approaches to building high-growth startups. Okay, please give it up for Giuseppe.
Too old for you to read my whole bio.
So next we have Katie Ray, who is the CEO and managing. I'll try and top it down. So who is the CEO and managing partner at the Engine Ventures, which was launched in 2016 to invest in early stage tough tech companies, translating from lab to commercialization. Since its founding, Kite has raised over $1 billion in capital commitments, and she has served as a board member for the Engine's venture portfolio companies, including Boston Metal, Commonwealth Fusion Systems, Form Energy, Sublime Systems. Kite has a lot of experience as an investor and 25 years as a tech executive, helping build Boston to be the thriving tech hub we know it to be today. She has extensive investing experience, but also she has experience in product development, management, operations, and has worked across many companies, including Microsoft, Mirror Worlds, Raging Bull, Zip2. Kite has an MBA from Yale and a BA in biology at Oberlin College.
Please give it up for Kite.
Last but certainly not least, we have Tuan Ho. Tuan is a serial founder and partner at XFund, where he has been deeply involved in advancing innovation and entrepreneurship. A co-founder at Philo, Tuan pioneered live streaming television, XFund's first investment, and helped launch the Harvard Innovation Lab. He helped establish the Founder in Residence program at Atomic Labs and became the co-founder and CEO of Radiant, an AI platform for in-store experiences. Tuan earned his bachelor's in chemistry and physics at Harvard College and an MPA from Harvard Kennedy School. He actively advises and he angel invests in startups across telemedicine, robotics, blockchain, and he also serves on Virginia's LGBTQ+ advisory board for education and workforce. So thank you to our distinguished judges. Being here, they're really volunteering their time to be here, guys. So we really appreciate their expertise in setting aside, I'm sure, a night that is usually spent on other things like work and starting businesses. So we appreciate you being here. Okay, and then quickly, the organizing team, which you've seen them all around with their red lanyards. This year's team, me and Sam and Brittany have been talking about how awesome they are. I mean, this event is I think we sold it out twice over, and I'm just super impressed with the hard work and dedication. And if you see them, say thank you, because they've spent a lot of time making this happen.
Now the exciting stuff. We'll be hearing from 16 pitchers today. Each team will have 90 seconds to come forward and pitch you their idea. There are no slides. Then there will be 2 minutes for the judges here to ask questions, follow-up questions about that idea. Get ready. They've been sharpening their pencils. At the end of the pitches, the competitors will go back and the process will continue. After all the pitches have been done, you, the audience, will have a chance to vote for your favorite team this evening. You're going to scan the QR code that you should have in your little card. It will also be displayed up here, and then you vote. You will decide tonight's winners of the Audience Choice Award. Those voting codes also get you your food, so make sure you keep them. Later this evening, the judges will then retire to deliberate, and they will choose a first, second, and third company. We will come back tonight after that deliberation to announce the winners. To all competitors this evening, we wish you the best of luck. And to our audience, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Please sit back and enjoy some of the best of what MIT has to offer in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. Before we get started, let's give one final round of applause for all the competitors who will be competing this evening and have competed so far.
Okay, well, sorry, I was not supposed to introduce you. EC Cubed, they have a mission of revolutionizing energy storage through modified multifunctional concrete.
The rise of AI is revolutionizing our world, but with a staggering energy cost. According to the Department of Energy, data centers will consume nearly 10% of US electricity within the next 5 years. Industry leaders like Google pledge to use 100% green energy by 2030, but even they admit that current energy storage systems cannot get them there. Why? Conventional batteries, for example, pose fire risks and face supply chain bottlenecks, meeting only a fraction of projected demand. As a result, a typical 100 megawatt data center is forced to overpay for energy contracts by $40 million per year. But what if the data center itself, its foundations, walls, and surrounding infrastructure could function as a massive battery? Well, now it can. Our team at MIT has developed and patented EasyCubed, a concrete-based battery technology. By embedding nanocarbons into concrete, we have enabled the most used material on our planet to store electrical energy within the built environment. We already have working prototypes proving the feasibility of this technology. What's more, our technology uses globally abundant resources, lasts 5 times longer than traditional batteries, and is non-flammable. With hundreds of data centers to be built in the US within the next few years, our technology has a potential to save billions annually. Our vision is bold but simple. Infrastructure that doesn't just consume energy, it stores it.
Great.
Why is your team the best to be doing this particular project?
So, I'm Damien. I'm a research scientist at MIT, working in R&D for the last decade, and I've been scaling this technology for the last 2.5 years. Joining me are 2 PhD students with expertise in physics and business. Rounding our team are 2 MIT professors with business entrepreneurial success with 5+ span companies.
Great pitch. To what extent have you validated how you plan on distributing and outfitting data centers with this concrete enablement?
So what you mean, if I can reformulate,
Sure.
is what's the type of sale that we want to do, right?
Sure, yeah. And to what
so-
extent have you spoken to customers, et cetera?
Yeah, so we actually have been conducting some customer interviews for the last couple of months. Data centers have been a market that we've chosen primarily because of the fact that A, they've been on the rise, as Damon mentioned. B, they consume a lot of energy, and that's the primary cost that they have been trying to tackle. And C, in a BBC article that was published about our technology a few months ago, we saw a lot of traction from that particular sector. So we focused a lot of our customer interview process in the months since on trying to see if there's really good traction in that market. And we've seen that there is, but it really depends on a couple of different factors. So we have to pick the beachhead correctly and then expand from there.
What happens when your battery goes out? Like you said, it lasts 5 years. How long does a data center last?
No, we mentioned that lasts 5 times longer traditional batteries.
Oh, 5 times
Yes,
longer.
just because we are using. Okay.
I mean, it seems like a novel technology, but how much money would you actually require to do a functional pilot or test of this? I mean, data centers require tens, hundreds of megawatts of power. How do you prove that you can scale that?
Very true. So for now, we have lab-grade prototypes, sort of smaller scale. But for a data center type of scale, the way we're looking at this problem is if we look at traditional precast materials, precast concrete, our technology would cost around 50% more. That seems like a pretty big margin, but when you consider the fact that concrete is already an incredibly cheap material, that's why it's used so abundantly worldwide, that's not actually that big of a margin. And that margin primarily is driven by the nanocarbons that we're embedding into the concrete in order to give it this energy storage functionality. And we're actively working on testing cheaper, more efficient, more sustainable versions of these nanocarbons, so we're confident we can drive that price down further.
And what does happen when it runs out?
Fortunately, our material, after the end of the life, even if it stops working after 50, 60 years, it can still serve as that structural component, foundations of our house, and so on.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Institute. Next up is NeuroChip. NeuroChip is transforming pediatric seizure treatment by enabling continuous at-home seizure monitoring.
This April, I met Mateo. He seems like a happy, typical 4-year-old boy, except he's fighting a daily struggle against blackouts and progressive brain damage caused by pediatric epilepsy. He even had seizures months ago, and to this day, his mom and neurologist still don't understand enough about his seizures to prescribe the correct medication and dosage. He's one of 1 million children worldwide with pediatric epilepsy, many who experience up to 100 daily seizures no one can see. And with over 1 million diagnoses each year, this is a growing disease. With too little medication, the seizures cause progressive brain damage. Too much, kids face nasty side effects like fatigue and depression. Seizure monitoring is the key for a fast and effective medication plan, but current practice relies on in-hospital, bulky EEGs to short-term monitor a chronic disease. That is why we developed NeuroChip, a daily wearable concealed headband to continuously and long-term monitor pediatric seizures. Our patent-pending device overcomes the traditional limitations of sensor scalp contact to read the brain's electrical signal for days. And it's comfortable, secure, and so concealed I'm actually wearing a version right now. With over 9 years of EEG experience, my team of Georgia Tech and MIT engineers is excited about NeuroChip. And we're currently working with neurologists at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta to launch pilot studies and FDA 510K experts to plan these studies for FDA approval. With NeuroChip, we can help kids like Mateo live seizure-free faster. Thank you.
Can you tell us a bit more about your team?
Yes, of course. So I'm Shaki. I'm a PhD student here. I'm Caitlin. I'm a Georgia Tech engineer. And then our third co-founder is a Georgia Tech graduate who's currently in industry working in a medical device who couldn't make it today. And so we have over 9 years combined of EEG experience dating back from the beginning of undergrad to now. And then we also have 2 mentors, Dr. Ball and Dr. Lin at CHOA, who are helping us launch our pilot studies in the upcoming year, as well as 2 FDA and kind of business mentors as well on the team.
So how long do you think it'll take you to get through the FDA, and what will it cost?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our device would fall under the FDA 510K pathway, claiming a predicate device based on other cutaneous electrodes. Estimated would depend a lot on our pilot studies that we're launching beginning of next year, as well as the predicate performance studies. We're estimating about a year if we contact the FDA starting at the beginning of our initial pilot studies to at least that 510K pathway. Right now, our pilot studies are being funded by a previous competition we won to kind of fund that initial planning of those. And the performance studies the cost would vary depending on the outcome of our pilot studies, but we could estimate a total cost of the whole thing by about $200K. That's very estimate depending on our outcomes.
I love that you're wearing the headband. That's just absolutely brilliant. How much is this device going to cost, and who's going to pay for it? Is it a cash pay, or is it something that you have to get reimbursement for?
Yeah, definitely good question. So our idea is to sell it to hospitals, and hospitals prescribe it to patients. So the device would be covered by insurance CPT codes. So we're working with a medical insurance expert, Anita Balani, to work with the pricing of our device to make sure it fits within the hospital CPT codes. We haven't decided on a final pricing just because we need to understand with the FDA, once we get our 510K clearance, how those CPT codes would cover and how much they would cover our device. But right now, it only costs about $40 to make in a prototype, and so we're expecting about like 80% or more margins based on similar devices in the field.
What are similar devices in the field?
Yeah, good question. There's a variety. In hospital, as Jackie mentioned, they work with short-term EEGs, which is like 30 gel electrodes pasted to a child's head. If they need to be monitored out of the hospital, they literally just take gauze and wrap those 30 electrodes and wires up and send them home for 48 hours. That's the traditional and like clinically accepted way to do it right now. Other than that, other novel competitors that are coming out still do a full montage EEG and mostly still require you to be in hospital. So they're very not concealed. You can't wear them to like daily activities like school, and they still require you to be kind of like sitting in a hospital bed.
I just have to ask you about the EEG and how well your EEG compares to the silicone gel-based, because obviously that's going to be the standard against which you're going to be compared.
Yeah, no, of course. So obviously when you go to dry electrodes, you do lose a little bit of signal quality. But kind of the unique point we are right now is the quality of the dry electrodes is becoming comparable. So there's in-hospital alternatives like Zito that use completely dry electrodes. And it's a pretty standard electrode, and that is what we use as well. And one of the big advantages as well of current technologies is the pre-processing ability and the ability to reduce noise and actually detect seizures. So while we do lose some of the signal quality when we go to dry, we've talked with our mentors in clinic, and based on the signals that we receive right now and artifacts that they can see like eye blinks, we're confident that they can read seizures, even just visually from this data, which is currently a standard practice in the hospitals.
Thank you, NeuroChip. Next up, we have Cube. Cube is modernizing the US interstate highway lodging market.
There's nothing more quintessentially American than a road trip, but there's nothing worse than staying in a shady roadside motel. I learned this lesson firsthand in my first road trip cross country from New York to San Francisco when I stayed in a shady Motel 6 on the side of the highway and I got bed bugs. My experience didn't really get much better from there. Throughout the rest of the duration of my trip, no matter where I stayed along the interstate highway system, I found my quality of experience to be ubiquitously poor, so much so that I slept in my car most nights. When our generation takes the road, we deserve a place to stay that's reflective of the American dynamism that's brought us all here tonight. That's why I'm building Cube. Cube hotels are from the future, and quite frankly, they're like nothing you've ever seen before. They're 55-room, jet black, metallic cube boxes that are located along major interstate highways. When you walk in, you'll be greeted by a mixture of Japanese and Scandinavian minimalism, like sunken conversation pits, Japanese Zen gardens, and modular co-working space. Operationally, Cube is optimized for 2025, from contactless check-in systems to digitally permissioned access-gated systems to keep our hotel guests safer. You'll be able to stay in a Cube hotel for $115, $20 less than a Best Western, and $20 more than a Motel 6. Our secret sauce that gets us to this price point is volumetric modular construction, which reduces our build cost by 20% by reducing our time to market by half. Pave the road forward with Cube Hotels. Visit us at cubehotels.com.
Now, is a model here that you would own all the cubes, or you'd have it sort of franchised out?
So we would own and operate the first 2 or 3 to get viability of the concept, and then from there we would continue to own the properties, but they would be externally managed by a third party.
And what occupancy rate do you need to break even? Like, how big is this?
Yeah. So roadside budget hotels are generally a cash cow. So we would need something like 40% occupancy to break even. The market standard is 60%, and we think we're going to offer such a kick-ass product that we're going to be at 80%. But if we're at 60%, we'll be 35% EBITDA margin.
So my understanding is that there are no humans checking people in, or that you're not dealing with any humans. It's all electronic.
Yes, that's correct. For the check-in and check-out process, it's completely contactless. There'll be people at the facility, general managers floating around and such, but not in a traditional check-in capacity.
Okay, so what about hygiene and any of the issues that come up when somebody's at a hotel?
There'll be a standardized housekeeping service. No major changes there.
How do you plan on driving adoption early on?
Yeah, so billboard advertising, I think, is a very underutilized space. I think we will have a really creative billboard advertising campaign. We also want to lean into social media advertising. Right now, the product quality is so poor that you're not really asking cool social media influencers to hawk your product. I think that's something that we'll be able to do effectively, and effectively be the first major chain to be able to do that.
Who's your target market, and what's the target market of people who do long-distance driving across the nation?
Yeah, so our target market, we call them yuppie, millennial, and Gen Z road trippers. And like myself, I am the target market. But there's over 20 million people in this demographic every year that take road trips, and currently we believe that they're very underprovided for.
Have you done any proof of concept testing? And just take 10 seconds to talk about your team.
Yeah, for sure. So we've taken a survey of 100 like-minded yuppie, millennial, and Gen Z road trippers, where we flashed our schematic designs, which I've done in concert with my design partner based in Los Angeles, who's my other teammate, and they've performed very well. We've shown definitively that people do not like the contemporary mid-scale and economy budget offerings. They think of them as sketchy, low quality, et cetera, all the adjectives I described before. But they really liked our design consistently across the board. So it was some early validation just from survey data.
Thank you, Cube.
Yeah, thank
you. Next up, we have Poncho, a platform that is reimagining virtual buying for small and medium-sized restaurants in the United States.
SMB restaurants and distributors generate over $400 billion in annual revenues and $60 billion in yearly leakage. Why? Restaurants lack buying power and have few tools to combat rising and fluctuating food costs, while distributors struggle with manual order entry and high rates of client returns. The results? Everyone's margins suffer, including my own. My business partners and I have operated 16 restaurants in 2 countries and know these problems too well. So that's why we decided to launch Poncho, an easy-to-use, AI-powered marketplace that transforms the way SMB restaurants and their distributors connect, negotiate, and transact. It is so simple. Poncho pools restaurant orders to access bulk discounts, and then it automates distributor ordering to slash manual errors and client returns. Boom, everyone's margins improve. What's more, we've validated our MVP with dozens of industry interviews. Poncho is creating the future of the restaurant and distributor relationship to maximize profits and to stop the leaking. Thank you.
What's your go-to-market plan?
That's a great question. Our go-to-market plan is to look at very busy cities with lots of restaurants and to start with small and medium-sized distributors and restaurants there. I've been a consultant for 4 years. I've operated a multi-unit bakery chain in New York City that was rated the best, and I have tons of contacts in LA, San Francisco, and New York, and we plan on starting there.
Of all the problems that restaurants have, where does this rank?
Number 1, pricing is the number 1 problem, and the existing technologies that are out there are very complicated to integrate, they're very complicated to set up, and expensive to maintain. And so I think that this combination of high technology costs and high food prices is truly the number 1 problem for restaurants. And on the other side, for distributors, we've talked to so many of them, the client returns are causing 4.5% losses in their profits. So it's a really, the costs are the biggest issue.
Great presentation, by the way. What do you think the biggest challenge to creating equilibrium and balance between the supply and demand part of the market will be as you roll out from city to city?
That's a great question for my co-founder, Pablo.
We believe if at some point we are able just to pull as much as the demand of the restaurants, we will be able also to solve the ordering problem for distributors. In that way, we believe we can create a great balance in the industry and therefore just provide better prices for everyone and efficiencies for everyone.
Okay. How do they do it today through pen and paper and phones?
Oh, multiple different ways. Spreadsheets, paper, documents that they write on the wall. For distributors, it's all over the place. Some of these SMB distributors are family businesses. They are operating in cash. They do things on old PCs. And so that's why what we're creating has to be so easy to use and where a lot of the technology that we want to bring in, the AI and the machine learning comes in.
Thank you, Poncho.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Nami, a water bottle cleaning station that offers a quick, thorough clean on the go.
Reusable water bottles have fueled an over $9 billion industry, yet recent studies reveal they often harbor alarming levels of bacteria and mold, which can lead to gastrointestinal illnesses as well as waterborne diseases, according to the NIH. Allow me to introduce Nami. Nami is a water bottle cleaning station designed to provide a hot, soapy, pressurized wash all in under 30 seconds. Strategically placed next to water bottle filling stations, Nami allows users to clean their bottles and lids first so that they're able to refill and hydrate without missing a beat. Over the past year, testing of our prototype reveals that we are able to remove up to 97% of particulates, overperforming dishwashers in both efficacy and speed. For gyms and fitness centers, Nami provides a unique opportunity to address a common member pain point, while also meeting rising expectations for hygiene, sustainability, and convenience. By offering a quick, on-the-go wash to consumers, Nami addresses a common need in the water bottle cleaning industry. We plan to start with boutique fitness centers, where member satisfaction is key, and then scale across the fitness industry into high-traffic areas, including universities, airports, and offices. Nami's patent-pending technology meets post-pandemic priorities of hygiene and sustainability, enabling businesses to champion safer, more sustainable hydration.
Thank you, Nami. 90 seconds is up. Up for the questions.
How do you clean the cleaner and make sure that people trust? It's basically a public dishwasher. How do you make sure they trust that?
Yeah, great question. The version 1 of our prototype does not include a self-cleaning cycle, although we're planning to incorporate UV sterilization and other methods to keep it clean. We do use things like soap and hot water, so we do prioritize the whole thing staying clean as well.
What's your competitive advantage over somebody else putting in a dishwasher?
Yeah, for sure. So Nami's competitive advantage is that we will be first to market to provide an on-the-go water bottle cleaning station, and our novel technology allows nozzles that basically focus on the threads and hard-to-reach parts of bottles, as well as a proprietary plumbing system, which essentially provides hot water on demand. We also believe this is a platform technology which can be applied to other sanitization applications.
What's the motivation for fitness centers here? Aside, obviously, keeping their members healthy, but why will they purchase this, in your opinion?
Yeah, for sure. So similar to water bottle cleaning station or filling stations, Nami provides a convenience to businesses, which is basically going to attract customers, similar to other amenities that they may add. Also, Nami's brand of sustainability and hygiene really fits into the post-pandemic priorities and helps businesses build their brand.
What's it going to cost and how long does it take?
Yeah, so to build at scale, we estimate Nami costs around $300 or $600, which we plan to sell for $3,500. The second question on how long it takes, it's 30 seconds, and yes.
Thank you. Oh.
Who's on your team?
Yeah, so we're a team of 6 MIT mechanical engineering graduates, and we plan to leverage our network and to find advisors who exist in the water bottle filling industry to help us tap into that market.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nami. Next up, we have Bond Health. Bond Health aims to leverage AI and electronic health records to transform clinical trial patient recruitment.
We are Bond Health. Our aim is to dramatically improve how patients are recruited for clinical trials. This problem today delays 4 out of 5 trials and costs pharmaceutical companies in the US alone between $3 and $5 billion per year. Why? Because the traditional method of recruiting patients is antiquated and old school. We can do better. Our AI-powered platform is HIPAA compliant and works in a privacy-preserving manner. With the help of our hospital partners, we analyze electronic medical records to identify patients who match the trial criteria. And independent research has shown that our approach saves up to more than half the amount of time required to recruit patients. And our team includes biomedical data scientists from Mass General Brigham Hospital and Harvard, a former Google and Meta software engineer currently at MIT. I, Rishabh Goel, I'm at Howard Medical School, and I'm the past co-founder of a Kleiner Perkins scout-backed startup that is still growing today. Our approach has shown that we can improve the clinical trial recruitment by over 50%. And now for some exciting progress. We are in final negotiations with one of the largest hospital systems in the US, giving us access to over 1 million patient records. And as our model gets better, with more training, we believe that more hospital partners and pharma companies in the US and internationally will sign up. So while we make money serving our clients, our moral mission is to improve lives, and that is our bond with patients worldwide.
Today?
Sorry?
Why is it so hard today?
Yeah, it's really hard today because the traditional way in which people do it is through the help of flyers or through the help of physician referrals. Going through EHR data is very hard because it's not the same in every single hospital system, and it's very unstructured. Things like clinical notes, imaging, it's really hard to actually analyze all of that to identify patients. But today, technologies have changed. We have transformers, we have large language models, and that makes analyzing unstructured data and imaging data much easier, which is why we want to leverage that to actually find the right patients for clinical trials.
Why are the hospitals signing up? What are you paying them? I assume you're paying them.
Yeah, so the reason why hospitals are signing up is because this gives them the opportunity to provide their patients with the right amount of clinical support that they require when they reach the clinical trial stage. And which is why our current, the hospital partner that we've partnered up with right now is partnering with us because we are improving their patient outcomes.
And are you keeping it within the hospital system, or are you taking those patients and then offering them up sort of more broadly, if you understand what I mean?
Yeah, so essentially the way in which this would work is that because we are more of like a central platform to actually help all kinds of clinical trials recruit patients, it would not be something that's internal, because that would defeat the purpose of what we're really trying to do, which is improve clinical trials as a whole. So, which is why we would want it to be more external, and we would want it to be a central platform.
And are you stopping at clinical trial, or are you going to help them take care of the patients somehow after that? Or is it just single point?
Yeah, so where we start is at the very beginning of the entire funnel, which is actually creating the entire candidate pool for trials. So clinical trials start with creating the entire pool of candidates that could potentially be a part of that trial, and then that eventually funnels down to the patients who actually consent to do those trials. So we do the first part, and the rest of the steps are covered by the drug companies that we're partnering with.
No, there's no hospital that's signed up yet, because the big problem here is going to be the consent, and not just from the individual patient level, but the hospital level, which is why I was asking, is it internal within the hospital? Because then it's not a problem. I'm just wondering if you've come up against that yet.
No, so that's a good point, because when it comes to such situations, it's really important to make sure that the hospitals are on board with what we're building, which is why we are in final negotiations with one of the largest hospital systems in the US, and they're willing to allow us to do a pilot study to understand how this actually works with their hospital system, after which they would be able to give us more consent.
Thank you, Bond Health. Next up, we have Pipt Health.
Meet Deborah, a supply chain director at a major health system who's trying to change rubber glove vendors to save $100,000. What should take weeks took 10 months, bogged down by over 60 stakeholders, hundreds of emails, and over 12 distributed point solutions. This isn't unique. Most healthcare procurement, especially for physician-preferred items, faces similar bottlenecks, and these systems are more strapped for cash than ever before. Introducing Pipt. Pipt is a data analytics and orchestration platform that unifies the supply chain lifecycle from intake to implementation. By seamlessly integrating EMR and ERP and other system information, unifying data and workflow, Pipt aligns stakeholders such as finance, supply chain, and clinical. Its data and AI and data-driven insights drives next best actions for product selection, comparison, and negotiation, making strategic decisions faster. In discussions with different suppliers and providers, we can drive 20% more negotiations a year, saving $6 to $8 million. Our team has overseen over 14 multi-million-dollar cost reduction projects at major health systems, and we have over 9 design partners lined up for Q1 next year. Join us with Pipt.
You already have customers? You already have 14 customers? Is that correct? Or did I misunderstand that?
We are in like tentative agreements with different healthcare providers. We're still going through kind of the IT and other items like that, but we've gotten tentative yeses from different senior director, VP, and CXO level people at different health systems.
And what are they excited about?
There are a lot of really great data observability and analytics tools in healthcare that are out there, from GPOs like Premier and Vizient to homegrown solutions. But I think one of the biggest gaps in healthcare is that from the data to the process, people are sending emails back and forth, and this non-linear process can take months when it should be taking weeks.
What's the business model here?
It's a SaaS subscription model, though we've been hearing from different chief procurement officers at hospitals that there's an appetite to have a value-based component to it, not to exceed 20%. So we're working on kind of that, but that we're thinking about like figuring those details out as we kind of work through the design partnership and quantifying the value.
What data do you have to get or integrate into in order for it to be valuable, or do people input the solutions manually?
The core architecture innovation here is bringing the data to the workflow. The biggest data from the ERPs are PO information. There's information from Epic that we would need to bring in as well. We also want to unify warehouse management systems and revenue cycle. We have experience integrating these doing these implementations before, so we know the ETL pipelines and the API integrations that are required. So we're not daunted by that task.
How much of the implementation is custom at each hospital versus you can take the module and transfer it over to the next hospital?
I'd say tentatively there's about 60 to 70% overlap from hospital to hospital. As far as the data source systems, the core source systems are probably around 90% the same. It's just the process is somewhat different from hospital to hospital.
Tell us about the team.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we've got between us, consulting, engineering, and ERP implementation, as well as founder experience across the three of us. The 14 health systems was actually health systems that we individually and collectively have served in some capacity, especially in relation to Pipt. And so we've got, a Stanford, Uber, Walmart engineer and product consultant of 7 years doing exactly what Pipt is describing. And then extensive ERP, EMR implementation experience, as well as a 2-time co-founder.
Thank you, Pipt. I promised that the order was randomly generated. Now let's welcome Health Plus. They are on a mission to gamify mental health interventions for high-stress professionals by leveraging behavioral patterns to predict burnout.
Burnout affects 8 out of 10 professionals, costing companies billions in turnover, absenteeism, and healthcare. And employees, they don't seek for help, and the companies lack HR insights to do something about that. At Health Plus, we automate burnout prevention, just like carbon footprint management, but for burnout. HR professionals have a dashboard about actionable insights driven by analysis of medical claims, HR data, as well as workflow data. And employees have a mobile app with the recommendations as well as quick burnout assessment. Our scalable B2B SaaS model captures an $80 billion annual market, and we are selling to HR directors in high-stress professions such as finance. We are already in pilot negotiation with the 6 companies, including 1 confirmed paid pilot. In our team, we have expertise in AI products at Apple and Microsoft, as well as a second-time founder from finance. At Health Plus, we are building the future of workplace with the actions and insights.
You use?
Yes. So our data comes from readily available organizational data distributed to HR professionals. For example, human resources information systems, applicant tracking systems, and internal HR surveys, which together come and formulate things like turnover rates, medical claims, quantitative and qualitative analyses, and employee sentiment analysis, along with key moments in the employee development lifecycle that we use AI agents to analyze for key burnout insights to deliver actionable insights with domain expertise.
How do you make sure that the employees are psyched about this rather than feeling like creeped out about it?
Because actually we are using the data that companies are already collecting. For example, their medical claims, their like working hours or like key moments. So we will only give companies aggregated, like, for example, this period of time, this type of people, instead of disclosing individual data. That's already something, for example, mental health apps such as Lyra Health, Spring Health, they already provide like such like trends and insights without disclosing individual insights there.
You're effectively creating a new standard. What steps are you taking to kind of underpin that standard with credibility, whether in kind of tests in a clinical setting or kind of how are you going about making this the standard?
Yes, we are actually relying on the standard of a very emerging concept, which is people analytics. Actually, in some companies, they already have a people analytics team in terms of how we predict productivity, turnover, attrition, this type of thing. So we combine people analytics together with, for example, mass lab burnout inventory and to identify the burnout trends there.
And we're already undergoing some pilot studies. We've shipped 2 versions of our dashboard and 4 versions of our mobile app. We've onboarded 30 users, and so far we have an 86% reduction in 86% of our users exhibit reduced stress because of their app based on post-usage surveys specifically about our app. And so we continue to use evidence-based methods both on the employee and employer side, and we're monitoring all those usage metrics. We also have a clinical advisor on our team who's a psychologist who specializes in AI for mental health apps and startup advisory.
How did you come up with your market size?
It's a button-up. We started by analyzing what type of high-stress professionals we can targeting, including like finance professionals, healthcare professionals, lawyers, etc. So it was a button-up market size.
Thank you very much. Health Plus. Next up, we have Tempestas Energy. They have developed an AI-driven software solution that manages temperature of HVAC systems.
We are Tempestas Energy, and we are building a an AI-based software solution to reduce HVAC energy consumption in commercial buildings. Because running the HVAC systems that are in charge of climatization consume upwards of 40% of the total energy that's consumed in the building. But the problem is that 1/3 of this energy is currently being wasted due to inefficient controls. So we're here to eliminate that waste. Today, property and facilities managers are in charge of running their buildings while property managers are in charge of running their buildings with static controls that cause their... Sorry.
You got it.
Come on! Running the buildings with static controls that... sorry. So we're building a product that is able to gather a lot of data about what's happening outside and inside of the building and run it through a series of AI-based forecasting, thermal, and optimization models that allow us to determine the ideal optimal set point that we need to input into each zone of the building in order for it to run using much less energy than the status quo controls without sacrificing thermal comfort. The best part is that this is not just theory, because initial pilots and simulations show that we can run these systems using 35 to 40% less energy than before. We have a team that's very well suited to build this solution. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tempestas Energy. That's 90 seconds.
So we can turn it around.
No, it was great. You did great. Tell us about the team.
So Daniel has 5 years of real estate private equity. Myself, I'm an MSMBA student here at MIT in civil and environmental engineering. My background is focused on deploying Internet of Things solutions into Google buildings. We're also incorporating 2 founding engineers who are the experts with backgrounds in energy, AI, and climate, and 2 advisors who have extensive experience here in MIT Leeds, running electrical engineering programs and control systems.
Okay, first of all, you will never need to do a 90-second pitch memorized in your life again. Thank God, because that would be my personal nightmare.
Good practice.
And so where do you get the data? How do you get the data and how do you feed it back? Like,
Definitely. So this is a software solution and it's deployed into building management systems. Think about like a central computer in a building. This building is already providing data internally for internal temperature across different zones, temperature set points, occupancy, and solar irradiance, and then also outside temperature. We leverage all those to then train our models to then provide the optimal temperature set points, and we're adjusting every zone accordingly, and that actually produces around 35 to 40% less energy of the HVAC system in a building.
So this is such an obvious solution to an obvious problem. What's your competitive advantage?
Definitely. The beauty of this is it's a software solution. There's definitely competition in the market, but what we're trying to do here is we're not leveraging any hardware, right? We're using what's already in the building management system, leverage those inputs in order to deploy remotely, and also the ramp-up period to then embed our system and then train the models is very minimal, so around 3 weeks to a month compared to 3 to 4 months for other competitors. So that will actually provide a competitive advantage to our system.
Are you concerned at all with HVAC infrastructure becoming more natively AI-enabled over time? The actual hardware itself?
100%. That's definitely an issue in the future. But I believe that right now, with the current building management system, there's a lot of optimization happening, but nothing like this dynamic adjustments. It takes a lot of expertise and a lot of experience in the field and control systems to do this. So the big competitors aren't focused on that. They have a different focus. So we believe that we are more nimble to get this done.
Thank you.
Yeah, but besides just like comfort, set the temperature to 68 instead of 72. Like what other things are you optimizing for? What data are you collecting from the equipment?
Yeah, so one key part that our system is able to do is able to understand how temperature moves across the building using AI. So that allows us to understand how to optimize each individual zone in accordance to optimizing the full building. So there's cases where we can be cooling one space and maybe that temperature translates into the next space so we don't have to cool that space. So in the end, we're optimizing every set point in every zone at the same time in order for it to use much less energy.
Thank you, Tempestas Energy. Next up, we have Clarity Air. Clarity Air aims to deliver pure air and ventilation to classrooms in India through their innovative electrovent system.
Imagine this. Classes are moved online, and if you can meet in person, you have to wear a mask. Sounds familiar? But this is not a story from 2020. This is a story from New Delhi 2024. Air quality is deteriorating in India every day. And it's a reality that people live with. And school children are among those who are affected the most by it. Air quality in India is not accessible to all schools. Students spend about 30 to 40 hours per week inside classrooms, but only 10% of the schools in India have access to the infrastructure to provide good air quality. This is where we come in. At Clarity Air, we believe that students should not struggle with poor attention span or even school closures at some point. And we are a team of MIT and Stanford graduate students who are building an innovative system that is an electrostatic air purifier that not only cleans the air, but also provides good ventilation. And this is not possible for other systems that are already in place. And not only that, we do all of that in half the cost of the current systems. And even just Mumbai and Delhi alone as cities provide a $4 billion opportunity. So with ElectroVent, we want to build a solution that is not only accessible, it is also effective and scalable. Thank you.
Why don't you think this particular problem has been prioritized to date in the region?
Thank you for that question. It is prioritized. It's just that the current solutions that are available in terms of technology are just expensive. So you have access in like the expensive schools that you would be in Delhi. The private schools would have access to some infrastructure, but the large majority of schools would still struggle with the right infrastructure. And also this problem of deteriorating air quality is kind of recent. So like solutions are just coming in. The last 3 or 4 years have been particularly bad. So people are just grappling with like what type of things are available in the market that could actually fix the problem and be proved to be effective.
What's your distribution model? Like your actual getting this to the schools?
Yeah, so the way we're approaching this is that we want to partner individually with schools, and we're building systems. So the way our system works is that we can filter air using one system in multiple classrooms with just a single system. So we want to target schools as a system. So right now we're building a prototype, and we plan to pilot with 2 schools sometime next year so that we can test our technology, and then going from there build more partnerships with schools and distribute this further into the landscape.
Thank you, Clarity Air. Next, we have our 11th competitor. We have Speak Perfect, an AI-powered platform that streamlines content creation for micro-influencers.
A year and a half ago, I started my TikTok and Red accounts and firstly landed my ads deal. I was super excited at first, but quickly felt overwhelmed. Creating an ad is more than just posting content. It also required a structured plan to meet the brand's goal as well as to engage the audience. However, as a micro-influencer myself, I lack the tool and experience to create a storyboard, which is a blueprint to organize ideas, visuals, and messaging. So I spent countless hours studying the top-tier influencers, and the process was so inefficient, and the result was dissatisfied by the brand. And I knew I was not alone in this struggle. Micro-influencers make up over 80% of the $500 billion creator economy, but we're still underserved by current tools. And that's why my team and I created Speak Perfect. We are an AI-powered creative engine that helps micro-influencers turn raw ideas into detailed storyboards. By analyzing viral TikTok videos, we generate actionable plans that tailored to the creator's own style as well as the brand goals. And our storyboard include detailed scene breakdowns, visual references, viral trends, as well as clear instructions that help micro-influencers turn their ideas into actionable as well as polished ads. And since launch, we have created over 250 paying customers. And with Speak Perfect.
Thank you very much. 90 seconds
Thank
is
you.
up. Now for judges' questions.
Of their upside?
Sorry?
Do you get a cut of the upside of how you're helping people make money? Or what's your business model? They're paying you?
Yes.
It's a SaaS model?
Yes, it's a SaaS monthly subscription model, and we have different tiers, like basic tier, like a creator tier, which is mainly based on the number of ideas we generated as well as the storyboards that we generated for the influencer.
How much?
So for the most basic tier, it is $9 per month, and then the middle tier is $15, and the creator tier is $35.
Are there tools that exist like this for YouTube, for example? Like I think it's called Aspire, Inspire IQ. Is it similar? Is there a genre that's been created?
So we do not see any direct competitor who are in the storyboard area because
First of all, we're targeting TikTokers instead of YouTubers because we see a high growth of the TikTok market. And more importantly, right now, TikTok commercial is still relatively nascent. So storyboard is not that prevalent for the micro-influencers at least. So our direct competitors right now are actually agencies who have specific professional staff that work on like designing the storyboard for the creators.
What keeps you up at night from a competitive standpoint? I know if I were you, what would keep me up at night, but I'm eager to hear from you.
Yeah, so I think for me, our key strength is really our user experience. It is simple, personalized, as well as playful. We want to become the long-term companion for each micro-influencer. And I know like for TikTok, they have their AI Symphony tool, but it is right now currently targeting the 2B market instead of 2C, like the micro-influencer market that we're currently targeting on. So at least in the short term, we do not foresee any direct competitors from these large players.
Thank you very much. Speak perfect. Next up, we have Absentia. Absentia is a next-generation drug discovery platform that uses in silico whole organism models to replace traditional animal testing.
Did you know to create a small bottle of drug like this, more than 100 million animals are being killed every year? This is the tragic truth about the drug discovery industry, but there is more to this story. More than 95% of this animal testing do not really translate to human. To put it in perspective, a pharmaceutical company that's working on designing a new drug is spending around $2.5 billion and around 15 to 20 years to create one drug. But they're spending most of their time and energy on optimizing assets on animals that at the end of the day do not really replicate what is happening in human biology, and that's why a lot of the drugs test in clinical trials. At Absentia, we're making a computational model that we've been working on for many years. It is a mixture of AI and computational biology and physics-based simulations. It's a little bit futuristic, but actually the customers love it. Because you can do millions of drugs and test them over a week in parallel and report the efficacy and safety of them just like that. We are partnering with a lot of pharma companies, and we are spinning off our company out of MIT. My team is me and Ruhola. We're the PhD founders of this company, and we're working with pharma industry to actually make this reality.
That's 90 seconds. Now over to judges' questions.
How do you validate the simulations?
Yeah, so we have already done some validation in the lab. So far, we have done in vitro analysis. So we have done testing in the lab, and we have also done simulations and compared the results to see if we can accurately replicate what we see when we put a drug. We have done differentiation and gene editing, and we see very high confidence in our match.
What does the FDA think?
So FDA actually, they put out this new regulation in 2020, and they encouraged, they call it Modernization Act 2. And because the animal testing do not work, they encourage companies to go after alternative methods. We're not going to deal with FDA. We want to provide services to companies to make their process and accelerate their drug discovery process, and they'll help them to do testing in a shorter period of time. And if they want to do testing at the end of the day, they can do. But when they give us a list of drugs, we can prioritize their drugs and tell them more insight about what this drug can work or does not work in clinic or in the lab, and that can help them to save money and time.
So your value proposition is speed, not replacing the animal testing.
Yeah, in short term, we see that we can speed up the process, but I don't see any barrier in long term in 20 years to replace.
What is your business model?
Right now, we're partnering with biopharma companies, and we're getting royalty on any drug that they're discovering. They're using our platform to actually take to clinic. And also, we are working with them as a SaaS model to basically, any time that you're using tokens of our model, they get charged.
Tell me about the team.
So it's both of us. We're both PhD. My background is bioengineering.
Yeah, I do postdoc. I do research. My background is computer science.
And we have two more team members. They're spectacular MIT engineers helping us. We have two faculty members that both of them in biology that are helping us building this product. Yeah.
And you have proof of concept?
Yeah, we are actually showcasing our product with some companies that I can't name right now, but they're actually using it for testings that are not available right now. For example, Alzheimer doesn't have animal model. So we want to create some models that is actually useful for them.
Thank you, Absentia. Next up, we have Kite, an AI-powered platform that streamlines corporate giving and impact marketing.
It's Giving Tuesday, and I'm still spending hours scrambling for funding for my nonprofit.
It's Giving Tuesday, and my company is struggling to align our giving with meaningful impact and business growth. Luckily, we have Kite.
Hi, we're Melinda and Janet, sisters and MIT undergrads who've experienced these challenges firsthand, running a global nonprofit and sitting on grant committees. To solve this $30 billion problem, we've created Kite, a two-sided marketplace that connects companies and nonprofits, transforming corporate giving into data-driven impact marketing. For companies, it's simple. Set your grant budget and impact goals, and our AI will automatically recommend you align nonprofits and track ROI through our Kite Impact Index, measuring brand visibility, employee engagement, and quantifiable social impact. For nonprofits, a single profile lets our AI recommend corporate partners and grants, saving time and maximizing funding.
Unlike our competitors that provide over 1,000 best matches to sift through, we provide truly aligned recommendations, making corporate giving as easy and measurable as running a Google Ads campaign. We've seen strong traction thus far, with over 50 nonprofits on our waitlist and 5 brands that partner with us for a Giving Tuesday pilot initiative. As for our business model, we offer a freemium plan ranging from a 3.5% transaction fee to tiered site-wide subscriptions. So this Giving Tuesday, join us at Kite, where every dollar drives both business growth and social impact. Thank you.
Where do we start? Tell us about your backgrounds. Great pitch.
Undergrad juniors at MIT studying computer science and economics, and we're sisters, so known each other for quite a long time. As for why we decided to create this problem, to solve this problem for the corporate giving ecosystem, as we mentioned, we've been working on our own nonprofit in youth economic literacy for over 4 years. So have dealt with inefficiencies in that system, being able to apply for grants and having sufficient funding to run our initiatives. And Janet also has experience in the grant giving side of things as well.
Great presentation. How have you been able to generate and produce the waitlist you have so far, and how do you think about continuing to build that pipeline over time?
Yeah, so we began with just sending a lot of cold emails with nonprofits in the Boston ecosystem and beyond. And by emailing them, nonprofits are super responsive, and many of them send us a lot of really nice emails saying that they really need funding, and this is their top priority. On the same side, because I've sat on some grant giving committees and talked to other people who run CSR departments or also give out money within corporations, realized that a lot of them get an overflow of interest, but really don't know where to start. All they really see is a name of a nonprofit organization and the amount of money they're looking for, along with a couple more paragraphs on Excel spreadsheets, and they really don't need a tool to help automate this process, ensure that the money they're giving away is actually creating measurable impact and also helping their brand goals.
How do you like working together as sisters? By the way, I work with my sister. She founded the company that I...
Wait, that's awesome.
Yeah,
we do
love
everything
it.
together.
We've done, like everything together.
Look like when you fight over something. Because I have a sister, we fight once in a while.
We typically don't. Also,
Yeah, we're best friends, we're roommates.
Same major, same classes.
That's hilarious.
Thank you very much, Kite.
Thank you so
much. Next up, we have our 14th competitor, DashMap. They are developing an AI-powered platform to help reward safe and mindful driving.
Fassi, an Uber driver, spent 10 hours on a call with insurance company for raising his personal auto insurance from $3,000 to $5,000. Despite his clean driving record, insurance companies use proxies such as increased mileage to justify higher insurance rates. This common practice leads 1.5 million rideshare drivers to pay $450 million more than non-rideshare drivers. DashMap solves this by combining AI, computer vision through video recording to capture the full context of a driver's behavior. When a child runs out of the road and a driver brakes hard, DashMap sees defensive driving and not unsafe behavior. For insurance company, this means a more accurate way to price risk, as well as a way to offer more competitive products to drivers. For drivers, this means we're turning their individual driving data into collective bargaining power, allowing them the tools to negotiate with insurance companies. The time to do this is now. On November 6th, Massachusetts became the first state to legalize rideshare unions, opening up the door for collective bargaining with insurance companies. We are the perfect team to do this. I bring financial risk experience from Goldman Sachs, and my co-founder brings technical and industry knowledge from Uber. Let's revolutionize driver data analytics. Rideshare drivers today, all drivers tomorrow. Thank you.
What's the motivation behind the company? What made you two want to start building this?
When we ride Uber, we keep asking like drivers, how much is your insurance? All they tell us is that insurance price has been going up and it eats into their revenue. So that's one of the biggest motivations for us to create this product.
Thank you.
I know insurers are getting killed over like climate claims, basically, storms and hail and all that kind of stuff. But is their profitability going down, or are they really, is it costing more to give insurance? Like, do you really have bargaining power here?
I think we have bargaining power because we're able to capture the full context of a driver's behavior much better than the current telematics can do. Obviously, telemetric data is one of the many metrics that goes into what an insurance premium costs, but at least for the part that goes to rideshare drivers in terms of increased mileage, how much you're driving, we can solve that problem.
So insurers are making more money and the drivers are getting screwed.
I think
that's what you believe.
I think the more accurate way to talk about this is that there's no strong correlation between an increased mileage versus how well a driver is. And we want to solve that problem.
I mean, a lot of insurance companies have a telematics device with accelerometers in it to sort of detect unsafe driving. Do you have any sort of comparative studies of, because you bring in the visual component, do you have comparative studies to show why one is like, making mistakes or wrong?
Sorry, can you
basically validation.
Validation of why existing telematic systems are
there's
not
two
doing a good job of this.
Okay, so the question is why current telematics can't do what we're doing. Yeah. So the answer to this is two parts. Number one, we're not really competing with telematics company. We're different in terms of a business model. For DashMap, we're not selling data to insurance company. We're helping drivers to reduce their insurance rates. That's how we make money. Number two, our technology is different. So telematics is a dongle. There's a fundamental distrust of drivers in terms of if I put this dongle in my car, my insurance can go both up or down. Whereas for us, we're giving drivers the control over their data. They only consent to sharing that data with insurance companies when they're happy with their scores.
So why would insurance companies believe this data over especially their own data?
So this is data that they don't have. More data is always better in terms of analytics, and this gives them more access to data. And also, this allows them a competitive advantage. If they don't use this, we're going to go with another insurance company who can offer much better products to their customers. So they'll be incentivized to use it.
Thank you, DashMap. Next up, we have our 15th company, Harmonic. Harmonic is building a reimagined nicotine patch that helps users quit effectively without relying on self-regulation.
Only 8 in 100 users of nicotine patches successfully quit smoking. You might be surprised to know that these same patches in clinical settings have up to a 70% efficacy. Why? Using nicotine patches is complicated. To taper usage, users have to calculate dosage and cut the patches each day. Not to mention, all of this goes to waste when one intense craving causes a major relapse and brings the user back to ground zero. Outside of clinical settings, even the most determined individuals struggle with their regimen. Enter Harmonic, a smart nicotine patch that automates the quitting process utilizing adaptive and intelligent dosing of nicotine to curb cravings before they ever occur.
To maximize compliance, Harmonic always stays on, administering nicotine completely non-invasively. Think a tiny patch insulin pump that stays attached right to your arm that is both transdermal and visually pleasing. The only user involvement needed here is sliding in and out an easy-to-use plug-and-play nicotine and battery capsule, greatly eliminating the burden of human compliance. To address the issue of adaptive dosing, our algorithm personalizes the recovery regimen straight to the user's day-to-day lifestyle and physiology, using factors like sleep, stress, exercise, and diet health data from wearable devices like a simple smartwatch. Our proprietary ensemble of machine learning algorithms anticipates a user's cravings before they even ever occur and adapts the doses accordingly. Harmonic, simplifying quitting so you can amplify living.
Pitch, guys. How do you know it works?
Well, that's the FDA's. That's the FDA process. At this point, we have a prototype that we're still working on, an MVP, and then we plan to launch our first phase 1 trial sometime around February of this year. Hopefully, that will serve as some validation. Really, we're working off of existing nicotine patches that are a proven technology to 70%, and really just enhancing the compliance portion of these devices.
So if you increase compliance, it'll work better.
Yes, that's the hypothesis.
Great. And is it out of pocket? Like, who pays?
Yes, we would be selling this as an over-the-counter device and a price point of, we're thinking about $250, depending on our regulatory clearance, similar to an existing nicotine patch.
And it's the dosing device, or is it the nicotine patch itself?
So the nicotine patch itself is just a patch that you add on, and then it has a tiny plug-and-play nicotine and battery capsule that you can change out, and our goal is to make it last around 7 days. So the goal here would be that the one-time purchase would be the patch itself, and then you take the nicotine capsule in and out every 7 days to replace it at a price point of around $10.
So what's the competitive advantage? Why, when one of the nicotine patch companies come in and just do exactly what you're suggesting here?
Yeah, so it's this adaptive, it's the prediction of cravings. So we're looking at wearable device data to predict cravings before they ever occur, and are training machine modeling algorithms on predicting these cravings. A lot of the existing solutions are, you have a craving, let's try and alleviate it. We're trying to stop them before they occur.
Wait, how is it, I mean, is it taking measurements as well? Is that like, yeah, tell me about the intelligence piece.
Yeah, of course. So essentially the goal here is that over time it tracks from wearable devices data like sleep, exercise, diet health data, all of this, and then we use an ensemble of machine learning models to predict what the cravings would be at maybe some specific point in time. So for example, a person wakes up in the morning, they haven't had nicotine for, let's say, like 12 hours, right? Like, or I would say like 8 hours. Hopefully they're not sleeping that long. But so essentially the goal here would be that at the morning, in the, like their cravings would spike at the morning because they haven't had nicotine for that long. So then the goal there would be to sort of predict that that craving would spike, and then to administer that much nicotine, or like administer nicotine accordingly there. But yeah, that's essentially the goal, is to use that data to predict the cravings.
Thank you, Harmonic. Last but certainly not least, we have Contraer, formerly Realtor Robo, which aims to simplify the real estate buying process through an AI platform.
There are 180 dense document pages in every real estate transaction. Real estate agents spend 2 to 4 hours every single day editing these contracts, and over half of them say it's the biggest pain point of their job. I should know. I work for the 2 top real estate companies in the world editing these contracts every day. Working with my co-founder who built AI tools for Amazon, we have built a contract editing platform where real estate agents simply upload all of their documents in one place and receive alerts and explanations for all of the problems in their real estate contracts so they can edit them. This allows agents to go through their contracts over 4 times faster. All of this is done online, so agents working for the same company can now work on their documents at the same time and can even send and edit these documents from their phone while they're constantly on the go.
These contracts are typically edited in Word, which does not save any of the key terms. Hundreds of millions of real estate contracts and the data about their provenance is being thrown out every single year. Our platform saves this data and generates unique insights about it. For example, we can tell you what the ideal purchase price reduction on a house is. This enables brokerages to save their customers hundreds of billions of dollars annually. Due to data privacy constraints, enterprises need a third party to develop this software. That's why we partnered with 8 Harvard lawyers to establish legal compliance in California.
Thank you, Contractor. And now to judges' questions.
Have you made it?
Yeah, so we've built the main minimum viable product for it yet. It's launching in 2 months. That's why we need this $5,000 now, so we can deliver it to the customers we already have at the top real estate company in the world. We already have them. People wanting, but the product's going to be
Are
built
your
in 2 months.
customers real estate agents or the actual home buyer eventually?
We're working with agents, so you can see this platform being used for a wide variety of use cases. We actually started out as a B2C, helping the average Joe understand their real estate contracts, pulling out the key terms, helping them explain it to them. While we're thinking about that under a different brand identity, our main target is B2B at residential real estate agent brokerages. What's interesting about that is we can partner with the brokerages and get all of the agents. But since agents are independent, we can go straight to them and get one-offs, so we can get individual people at big companies to use this product.
So is the trend to get rid of real estate agents, though? Like sort of like the overarching trend in this field? That's my naive understanding.
So yeah, so there will always be real estate agents, period. However, because of the NAR deal, for buyer's agents, 30 to 40% of people buying a home in a decade will not use a real estate agent. This is why we're launching our B2C segment, to help the average person understand their real estate contracts, because that's the #1 reason people use agents in the first place.
What's the business model? And you're selling to brokerages, correct? Okay.
Yeah, so our business model is we're selling to brokerages for $1,200 per year per license. And this gets them access to all of their data, which they can use to access the contract editing tool, which gives you deductions on all of the contracts, flags all the problematic information in a legally compliant way. That's a huge part of this. We're iterating that legal compliance after winning the Harvard Law competition by using a retrieval augmented generation technique, which gives us a huge competitive advantage, and it's proprietary.
I was just going to say, this sounds like a legal tech, essentially. Why can't ChatGPT just do this? Like, what's your competitive advantage there?
Yeah, so there's a huge amount of liability. We're like mixing water and oil here. You've got AI, you've got legal contracts, and you've got transactions going on. And we're going to be the ones to take on that liability and figure everything out. Like, we recently won a competition where we won 8 Harvard lawyers to be in our team and basically pro bono work for us and help us become legally compliant. And realistically, an enterprise is not going to be able to do this. Furthermore, enterprises don't want to do this because they cannot share this data with each other. Whereas if we're a third party and we set up like the necessary infrastructure where we can disentangle the data for each enterprise that wants to partner with us, then they will be willing to use us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Contractor. All right, everyone, that's all our pitches this evening. Audience voting is now open. Our judges are going to retire to decide their top 3 competitors. If you did not pick up a small voting card when you walked in, please come see me down at the bottom. I can give one to you. This is how you get your food, everyone. You need to show this to get your food. Please come back. We will be announcing the winners tonight here after food. Thank you very much, everyone. See you in a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
No, but do you want to vote?
I would love to vote if I'm allowed to.
But also,
You need. Food? Well, Guys, we're almost there. The judges are just the final bits of wrapping up the decision. We're almost there. 1 or 2 minutes in time.
Oh yeah, great idea.
That's what I did.
Good evening, everyone. We have a decision, and we will announce it in 1 minute. 1 minute.
Seems like a lot of work. It's worth it. Yeah.
So you headed back to Connecticut tonight?
No, not tonight.
Yeah?
Because it's like 3 hours.
Oh, it's a bit of a commute,
so,
huh?
Yeah. So I'll stay here tonight, and then got a couple of things tomorrow morning, and then I'll head back.
Yeah. You have a lot of your team here?
No, none of my team. We're virtual.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, there's 9 of us, and we're all like all over the country. So.
What's your biggest thing right now? Is it
reimbursement?
Yeah,
that's our big challenge.
So figuring out how to get insurance companies to reimburse?
I'm interested to see what the audience reports.
Yeah, me too.
I can guess, I think. I probably have 2
Really?
guesses.
What's
See if
your
I'm
guess?
right. I think it might be the clarity or the context. That's my guesses. We'll see.
Okay, good. That $1,000 is gonna go fast. It's so much money.
You're a student. It's a
Yeah, I know.
Could be your
They
right.
can
How
do,
many,
they can do so much more with so little money.
Yeah, I know. You really made. I used to make the dollar really stretch incredibly. Now I would like wouldn't even, we'd be gone before I looked at it.
Oh, this is hard. I don't want to see people not get it.
I'm all judged out.
I personally lost this competition, so
Yeah, so you know what it feels
Oh,
like.
you did this before? Okay.
She
lost it.
She
Still here.
I've lost pitch competition.
Yeah, we've lost so many.
I've lost it. Maybe
One
we
at a
should-
time.
Maybe we should say that.
Yeah. Like by the
Everyone
way.
here has lost a pitch competition.
Good evening, everyone. Please, can you take a seat? Please take a seat.
No, the ones
We
who
are ready to announce the
also
results.
the most likely to be here.
And we just want to say that many of the judges have lost pitch competitions, so you should not feel bad.
Exactly.
All of us.
Yeah, I've lost a pitch.
Well, I don't know about me.
I lost this pitch competition.
I've lost many.
That is a very important message.
Yes.
So tonight we have been privileged to have 16 amazing finalists. Over to Brittany.
Yeah, so thank you guys for coming out. Thank you again to our judges, to our sponsors, and we hope you enjoyed the brief reception. We are excited to bring our program tonight to its conclusion, and tonight we will be presenting a few prizes. So the Audience Choice Award winner, which you have just selected, will receive $1,000. The third place winner will receive $2,000. Second place will receive $3,000, and the grand prize winner will receive $5,000. The 100K competition is driven by student initiative, and as you clearly saw tonight, a lot of passion. Thank you all for coming out and spending the evening with us, and it was a pleasure to be with you. So I'll pass it over to Jana to announce our pitch winners for tonight.
I think it's me first. Now, without further ado, the winner of the Audience Choice Award this evening, who will be receiving $1,000, is NeuroChip. Into the middle. The photographer needs to take lots of pictures of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to get into our third place winner, runner-up, and grand prize winner. So our third place winner of $2,000 is Bond Health. Oh, and then, sorry.
Come on, come up.
Come up here. I guess so.
Where's the check?
The second and third, there's efficiency measures at MIT about paper usage. They want us to cut down on all the big checks.
Okay, and our runner-up is EC cubed.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Of course, good job. I missed
All right.
Okay, and for this one, we do have a big check. So the grand prize winner is Absentia.
Congratulations. You guys take a picture, and then we'll take one with you.
What are we doing, Sam?
Come on, quickly, and then we can. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us this evening and making a night to remember. Before we go, I want to thank the people who make this all possible, to our sponsors, our judges, our organizing team, who are truly exceptional, including, I want to mention the people in the booth up there who you all know have seen but are crucial to making the event happen, MIT AV and Video Services, and also the campus activities work and the student life services people. Finally, on the screen, you'll see two QR codes if you want to hear more from us and future competitions. Thank you very much, everyone, and good night.
Can we invite all the winners to the stage? I would like to take a picture.
Can we get the winners up here to take a photo, please?
There's more photos, please. And competitors, guys, there's free